Hey guys, my name is Short Devil and welcome to the breakdown for the gameplay of Black Myth Wukong. Now this footage only recently came out and this is a game that you should be looking for. Now firstly, this game is being developed by a Chinese studio named Game Science. They have said that this game will be released on PC and next-gen consoles. The story is about retelling the story of a Chinese mythology called Journey to the West, and it involves the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. Now we finally get to explore Chinese mythology if this game does get released in the West. This game has given me some God of War vibes, obviously with a Chinese spin-off. Some people have also compared it with Dark Souls in some way, but from the gameplay, it doesn't seem like it. Anyways, let's start off with breaking it down. So the first thing that you see is a cicada flying past enemies, meaning that there's got to be some sort of stealth involved with this game. Eventually the player does get spotted by the enemy and then they engage into some combat. Now this is where we take a look into the UI. On the bottom left is clearly our health, magic and stamina bar. I'll obviously explain why that I think it is. We also have these four icons just above it. Each of them I believe is our abilities, which is tied to our magic bar. And another element to look out for is what can be seen on the bottom right. That is another thing that I'll obviously explain. Now, as you can see, while fighting the enemy, our stamina bar drops with each attack and dodge. See how I said this is definitely a stamina bar? Now the player then causes the enemy to stop in time, something like a stasis ability that we've seen in Breath of the Wild. And we also see that one of the icons have turned red and is basically charging back up. And also another thing to take note of is that when he did this ability, it drained a bit of the magic bar. As we encounter the next enemy, the player throws the staff at the enemy, which once again drains the stamina bar. And then the player parries off against some arrow attacks. But notice how the bottom right icon changes when he started to parry the attacks. So most probably the player is able to change it to different types of stances, and that each stance will have something unique to them. Next we encounter something that seems to be a boss because it has a boss health meter that appears on the bottom of the screen. Now right here we can see the player activating the top icon ability, which seems to be a very cool parry attack. Once again consuming the magic bar, meaning that you're not going to be able to spam this parry. Now just briefly right here, they showed off another stance that you're going to see later on. And then at this point of the fight, as I said, he changed to the stance that I've already pointed out. Eventually the player beats the boss, gets the weapon and adds on a little Chinese symbol to the bottom right of the screen. Once again, the player changes back into the cicada, but this time a meter appears on the bottom left, showing off that the transformation doesn't last as long. The player also hides behind some plants from this huge monster. Now I'm thinking there could be parts of the game that could be explored, or areas that you can only find if you transform into the cicada. And also, why can't we fight this big guy? Is it too hard for us? Or maybe they just want to show off the stealth aspect of this game, right? Moving ahead, we talk to an old man, obviously showing off that the game will feature NPCs to guide us around the world. And then we start running and jumping across a wooden bridge. Maybe there's some sort of jumping puzzles in this game. Who knows? The player then arrives to a group of enemies, and now the way the player engages combat with them, it makes it look like it's a bad idea to get, I guess, caught in the middle of them. But eventually the player does get caught. But something unique happens here. The player transforms into this huge ape. Now, taking a look into this, there is no bar or an activation of one of the icons that's been displayed. So I'm just wondering how this transformation works. Is it like a default ability? Who knows? However, this transformation does have a meter just like the cicada, so probably is the same, who knows. And another thing to take note of is that the transformation just absolutely healed their health. The next event is the boss fight, which feels much different compared to the previous one because the cutscene and with his name appearing on the side, which the other boss didn't really get much of. During the fight, we see the player activate the stasis ability, trying to stop time, but it doesn't last long, probably due to the fact that this is a boss. He also tried to parry the boss, but failed to do so. I don't know why. Maybe he might have missed the timing, or maybe the boss's attack might have been too strong. The player then resorts to using the bottom icon ability, which calls forth an army of clones. Something like Shadow Clone Jutsu in Naruto. And then at this point of time, this is where things get interesting. He changes to the weapon that he obtained, but also changes the character's appearance. Now, for those who don't know about the Chinese myth, is that the Monkey King is able to transform into many beings. So this is a cool take on not only getting new weapons, but being able to transform into the beings of those that are fought. Another thing to take note of is that this transformation lasts much longer than the ape or the cicada transformation. Also, the attacks performed in this state doesn't take away stamina. Eventually we beat the boss and a cutscene with someone stopping your attack appears, but we see this character in the upcoming scenes. Now this is where they show a lot of the game, just bits here and there. So we get a short scene of a temple and what looks like a portal appearing there. And then we have this bright scene here. I have no idea what fudge is happening here. And then this little dark moment with the character, who knows what's happening. Swinging on vines, yeah, maybe mobility in the game. This lizard boss. Can we transform into this? That would be kind of cool. This giant ugly bug boss, it looks really ugly. I'm gonna get nightmares. Some high tier enemies, that's obvious. I mean, like most hack and slash type of games like this also has some high tier enemies. A boss that can use lightning. Is this 4? No, it's not obviously, but you know what I'm trying to say. This bird boss is nothing really special. I mean, running on top of what looks like to be a Buddha statue. This is just really a weird scene. Very big boss, nice. The 4 giant Buddha statues. Can we fight these guys? Can we ride in a cloud with a dragon and just coming out of nowhere? And then this massive fight scene with your staff being able to just stretch in size. That's just another normal Monkey King thing, you know. So that's the breakdown of the gameplay for Black Myth Wukong, and I love it. I mean, the gameplay just reminds me of both Devil May Cry and God of War. God of War because it's like based on Norse mythology, or at least the latest God of War it was. I don't know how people compared this game to Dark Souls, maybe because it does have a stamina bar, but it just doesn't look like Dark Souls. And I also like that we get to explore the Chinese mythology, which most games, or if not all the games that I own, don't have anything to do with Chinese mythology. And clearly I'm Asian, so seeing something like that and that it looks really good has piqued my interest. Is that how you say it? Piqued my interest? It's basically got me interested into it. I just hope that this game does get launched into the West, because once again, this is a Chinese company that's developing this game, and games that are developed in Asia normally don't get launched into the West majority of the time. So I hope this does get launched into the West. And that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video or found it useful in some way. Give it a like if you did, and subscribe to the channel for more helpful videos. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitch, where you can talk to me live about any upcoming games that you're interested in, and maybe I could possibly do a video on them, who knows. And finally, Follow my Twitter, which is also all in the description below, where you can find my clever tweets. And I guess you can see some channel updates there as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you guys later. Gonna happen, huh? Did he just spawn in? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.